Check, check, 1, 2, check, check. All right, guys. Real fast, real quick. Let's go to the Qs. In the Qs, I found something. If I go to the Qs, Q, and I go to the weekly chart. On a weekly chart, I drew this green line right here. You're gonna see this green line right there, right? That green line. If I go to like the 20 years, the reason why I went to the 20 years because I wanted to see where that line went through. So I first picked the line over here, and I'll show you exactly where I picked it. And I extended it to the left, and then I realized that that line actually touches the peak where we got rejected last time, back in 2020, and then the green line ends up working as a support there. And so I also noticed that it acted as a support right here. And I also noticed it acted as a resistance there. So important line, right? So then I'm going to start zooming in. So I'm going to go to the weekly chart. And the weekly chart I'm going to zoom in further. And weekly chart, I have this right here. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Ran out of batteries on the microphone, on my headset. So, okay, now, so green line, right? Back to focusing on the green line, right? Look, it looks as a resistance here, a support right here, a resistance right here. And then in here, it doesn't quite touch it, but it almost did, right? So then, because I had this yellow line as well, which we ended up piercing through. So I'm like, where is this line? Where is it? Where are we really going? Now, if you ask me, the pattern is not complete, guys, until we get up here to that blue line. Why? Because this blue line right there is the line that appears to be the line that acts as a support here and the resistance here. And so the pattern completes all the way up there. So that's looking like 398, 400. Let's call it 400 on the Qs. Now, that being said, we have had, look guys, on the weekly chart, not one red bar. But if you look in the past, we have had something similar. We have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's six bars, 6 weeks going up, right? So we now 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it possible that with NVIDIA earnings and all that stuff, we can reach up there to 400 on the Qs? It is possible. If you end up reaching that level, look what you have to the left. You have major resistance to the left right there, right then and there, 400, 408 or so. Now that's one part. The next part is we zoom in further. Look at the daily. Let's look at the daily. Now the daily is telling you that you have. We're going to look at the oscillator down here at the bottom. Take a look. This was a peak, right? This was a peak. And then we had a lower peak. I'm going to draw it here so you can just see it. Follow it. See that? So we have a peak, and I'm going to go up, and I land right here. Then I'm going to do the next peak goes down, but the market goes up. So instead of down, the market goes up. And then we end up having a diversion. Now, in here on this peak, we end up higher. Look, we end up higher than the previous one when I compare it to the portion down here, which tells me that this oscillator is going down as the market continues to go up. Now, I also tell you that the last time we had something similar to that is right here. And we continued to oscillate against it, and it didn't matter because we continued to go higher and higher and higher. Now, this portion was done a little bit, you can't even see it, can you? Here. So this portion right here, this is what I was talking about. This is forming something like this. Now, last time we were oscillating here, down here, we ended up pushing up higher. Now it took much longer for us to pull back. Now look, we pull back when we get to the top portion of this drawing. We don't really pull back in the middle portion. You can oscillate all you want in the middle portion of the channel here, but when you move to the top of the channel is when you start looking for peaks like you did here. In here, you went down and the market went up. You see, you had a divergence, and then it ended up pulling back from what? From 320 down to 309. Although it doesn't look as very much, but we're looking at the daily chart. That's why. So right now you have same thing. You have a divergence. Okay, great. Now the next thing I want to point out is this. Oops. Let's go here. Move this thing back. Okay. So this is one line. The next line here, if I keep zooming in and I go to the 4-hour chart, you're still in this channel. You're still in this uptrending channel. Up, down, up, down, up. Does it look like it's running out of steam? Yes, it does. Can this green line be it? Because I was looking at that green line. I drew it from here as well. I grabbed the top of, I didn't grab the top of that. I grabbed this top. I used this pretty much. I used the top here, the support here, and this area of consolidation, and I used this area as a rejection, and I extended it to the right, and I ended up landing at today's height. So I'm like, is it possible that that green line is actually going to be the one? Now I got to tell you guys, 2040 is crossed to the upside, where I keep telling you that there's more bullish momentum with 20 just crossed to the upside. But that being said, that we are more than likely going to start cooling off a little bit. I don't know if it's now, tomorrow with Nvidia or whatnot, but if you look in here, so let me bring this in a little bit. Okay, so I can show you guys. So here you see this peak down here. This peak correlates with this bar, right? So this bar correlates with the peak down there. Now the next peak that ends up heading down does not correlate with an actual lower bar than this one, right? So that tells me that if this bar was at 366, that means that for there to be a convergence, this blue line should be up here, way up there, not down here. So it's divergent from the actual price action. So then we have another push up here. I go to the next peak. The next peak is higher than this one. Is this peak higher than this one? No. That means we continue to diverge. That means we have one divergence, second divergence, and we are developing a third divergence. Usually, if you look back, we like to do that. We like to do 1, 2, 3, and then it starts heading down. You see, 1, 2, 3, and then on the third divergence, it actually starting heading down. Now, that is the cues. We're still in this channel. Is this green line going to be it? I'm curious, and this is why I bought puts today. I bought puts today. I showed you the picture. So I'm hedged. So there is a possibility that we push on higher with Nvidia or with the Fed minutes or whatever it's going to be up here to the blue line. And I think at 398, we're close to 400. That's where we're going to be starting pulling back. But if you wait for that, you're probably not going to get in because you're going to be a little bit behind. Now, maybe it goes there, maybe it doesn't. I was looking at another line here that is interesting to me on the SPY. On the SPY, what I did today is I grabbed this top, this candle here of indecision that ended up working as a support, then all this that you can see that this red line right there is acting as a support, and then it acted as a resistance and it dropped, goes up to the line beautifully, acts as a resistance, comes back down, resistance again, support again. Look how good it works, right? So then I extended it to the right, and when I extend it to the right, this is what I get. This is what I get. Smack dab right on it. So I'm like, okay, fine. You see it right there. So I'm like, okay, so now I'm like, okay, if the Qs have one that is possible, and the SPY has ones that is possible, then look around at the rest of the market to see what else I can find. Now, I think that there's a chance that whenever we pull back, we're gonna pull back down to this trend line right there. And whenever we pull back to that trend line, which is looking like around 438, I think at that time you start finding more bullish momentum. The only thing that scares me here is that everybody is betting that there's going to be a bull run at the end of the year. So now I'm starting to wonder if this is a trap or not. The more likely scenario is that we are going to go see new highs. That's what makes the most sense. Why? Because you want to show everybody that the market recovered completely and that you're making new highs, and they go ahead and show you that 464, 465, and at that time everybody pushes their money in, and that's when the market pulls back. So there's a chance that this is a trap, but again, it looks as if we're gonna go and do that end of the year rally. We will see if it completes. Now, Dow Jones, I want to see the same thing, right? Same thing. We had dropped out of the channel, making everybody think that we were going to drop right here. You had this channel right here, and you had dropped below it right here. It was a fake out, and it pushed back in. Now it's pushing back in. Now, if you look around, like, how come the Dow Jones is not that strong? How come the Qs look like they're leading? Well, tech is leading this whole rally, right? So the rest of the market is not. It's a little bit weaker, although this is bullish and this extended and all of that. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's for 4 weeks. We're pushing. So then, if you start looking at the daily candles, this is doing the same exact thing. We are getting. I'm going to mark it right here, and I'm going to move it so you guys can see it. We are getting right down here. We are getting, right down here. We are getting a divergence. Because once again, we are getting this peak correlates with this little tiny bar right here. And the next peak goes down. Did it go down? Yes. Great. The next one is higher, but is it higher than the previous one here? See, this bar right here tells you that this should be the highest bar altogether. Instead, you have this bar that is telling you that is the highest point. But why is this bottom right here not as high? Because it's divergent. Again, we have a triple divergence, which tells you that more than likely we are forming a topping process. If you ask me, the real top comes right here at 354.72. That line is there for a reason. Now, I have it right here. Look, I'll show you. Comes back from here, and if I extended it to the left, you'll even see it more clearly. Edit properties, extend it to the left extension on, boom, look. Rejection area, support area, rejection area, and guess what? Looks like we're gonna go there. It looks like we're gonna go there at 355 or so. Now, if that looks like that, and the SPY looks like that, and the Qs look like that, it looks like we are running out of room. It looks like the room is right there. It looks like Dow Jones to 355. It looks like the SPY can go up to a little bit higher. But I think the SPY might be looking for a topping process here right now. Then we have the Qs, and I just showed you. We have extension here, overextension. We are hitting the green line and possibly the blue line up to 398, 400 we talked about, right? So it looks like that. Then let's look at the VIX. Okay. The VIX here, I told you guys that my view was that we go down here to touch this line. Now that line, we're almost there. Okay, 12.68 is the line where the market likes to bounce from. Now I tell you, this part right here, this peak is this bar right here. And then we have a lower peak right here that if I slide it down here, it correlates with a lower low. Yes, that's correct. That is converging. And then I go to the next one that should be a lower than this one, and it is correct. So you have basically on the VIX, you have lower high, and over here you have lower high, lower lows. It's converging. It's going with this. And I'm gonna show you once again. I think I keep continue to. So here it is. This part, I going along with this. Higher peak, lower peak, higher peak, lower peak, higher peak, lower peak, higher peak, lower peak. So it is going with it. Now we are coming to, and they're timing this. If you think that this is coincidence, you are dead wrong. They're timing this with Fed minutes or Nvidia, one of the two. But they're timing it perfectly so that we get down there at the time this happens. Now, I am looking for something like this, and we talked about it, from this line, now from this line, to shoot all the way up there. Why? Oh no, we're going to keep pushing. This is a bull market. My ass. It's going to come here. It's going to push up. It's going to get either a push up to here, because if I draw a line from here to there, I'm going to end up with something like this. Something like that. So perhaps it stops right there and then back down, or it shoots all the way up to the top and then back down. And if that's the case, then you're going to see a pullback in the markets. When are they going to come? I wish we knew. Nobody really knows. The truth is that everybody's looking for that answer. We don't have it. And I would be lying if I told you that I know exactly when it's going to drop. But I can tell you that when I look around, and we talked about Apple going to 189, and the fucking thing was right. We said that when Apple was around 178 or so, 180. So again, we have Apple that it looks like it's running out of room. And if I go, let me see where Apple is doing. Apple, well, first of all, it's right at the middle of the regression channel, right? So let's start with that. You do have a 2040 cross that is telling you that long term is getting more bullish. I want to point something out again. This, once again, oscillating. This is not going with the market. This is warning you. This is warning you that this is not going to continue running upwards. I'm going to show you one more thing. I'll give you an example here. Right here. Okay, let me see. This peak right here went along with this peak. When the market pulled back, the peak was lower. Yes, that is a convergence. That is correct. Then the market, what did the market do? It went up. It went up with the oscillator. That was correct. And then it pulls back. It pulls back. Now, when it pulled back here, the pullback was small. Then it starts going sideways. As it goes sideways, again, I wanted to point something out. We are at the bottom of that drawing between the white line and the red line and the bottom. I'm going to show you here. Between the white line and the red line down here. Now, this time we are at the very top. And Apple likes to pull back from here. So, here we are now. Oscillators at the top, when we are rallying for a while. Now, what else? Apple, let me see if we can find something in Apple. If I draw a line that crosses like this, if I take out the candle wick and I go like that, something like that, I still have some room to go up here. 197, 200, even 200 is possible, to be honest. I had this, boom, that hit. That was the initial goal right there, and it ended up playing out. So we are right now at the goal, what I thought it was gonna go, and so right there. Oops, I keep having to move this. It's annoying. Sorry, guys. So this is what this square right there. That's what we thought it was going to go there. It's at the middle of the channel and more than likely ready to pull them back. Look around, Nvidia. Nvidia is completely bunkers. If you go here like that, if you go like that, if you go like that and you extend this to the right, the crazy target is $560. Maybe it comes with earnings. Maybe it comes with earnings. Maybe it'll push 560 and then come down. Start coming down. That's a possibility. That's a possibility. I know it sounds crazy, but it is definitely possible. Meta, again, middle of the channel, same situation. And we are reaching extremes on everything else. Microsoft, flying through. Again, flying through everything here. And that's a crazy thing. Amazon can continue running upwards somewhere along the lines like that, pushing up all the way to 393. Crazy? Yes, sounds crazy. Markets can do that. They can continue running up for as long as they want to. You got to look at other things around. Home Depot, for example. Home Depot is here, 308 or so. It's trading above the 50 moving average with the 2040 about to cross. You got things like Visa, top of the channel, 2040 cross to the upside, trading above the 50 moving average. You have things like Netflix, 20 over 40, trading above the 50 moving average. Same thing, diverging, big time divergence is happening from the actual stock. So you see it here, top peak. This peak should have been the top, and it's not. It continued to go higher as we are getting lower highs on the oscillator. So Tesla, everybody's favorite, trading below the 50 moving average. The only one trading below the 50 moving average, which is sandwiched between the 50 and the 200 right here. So if you can bounce from the 200, which you did, you had a nice push, try to break the 50, failed, you're still not done trying to push this up. You still gotta push above in this channel. If you push up on this channel at $250, if you push back into that channel, the push is gonna be massive all the way up to the middle of the channel, 276.95 or 300 end of the year right here. 300, that's the goal. So I think that's it for me, guys. I don't want to keep it too long, but that's what I'm seeing. Let's see how it plays out. And good luck to everybody.